Melissa from Meditative Astrology, and I'm here to talk to you about the astrology of May 11th through May 17th. We have a few things going on this week, including the Scorpio full moon. Before we get into all of that, just a reminder to like, follow, subscribe, so that way you don't miss anything that we have coming out in the future, including our live meditations that we stream live on Sunday nights. We start out the week on Sunday, May 11th this week with the moon in the sign of Scorpio, where it will make a square to Mars. And that Scorpio moon will take us right into Monday, May 12th, which will set us up for that Scorpio full moon at 22 degrees of Scorpio. That comes through about 12:55 p.m. Eastern Time. When you have a full moon in the sign of Scorpio, there is an emotional depth and intensity that comes along with that. You have a height of energy that comes along with any full moon, but when you have the moon in the sign of Scorpio, the feminine water sign of Mars, where the moon is actually considered to be depressed, it is there are some deep intensities that come up, and they can often be related to our emotions or the ways that we connect with other people. With the sun in the sign of Taurus, that's when you have a full moon, the sun is always in opposition to the moon, so we still have the moon coming through the middle of Taurus here. That emotional depth that we have can extend into the physical realm. The sign of Taurus is an earthless sign, so we can see emotional things and emotional attitudes and expressions that come into the physical world in one way or another. This full moon is applying to a conjunction with Uranus, so the full moon at 22 degrees, and Uranus is at 26 degrees of Taurus. So the sun is going to be applying to a conjunction with Uranus all week, and the moon is going to move into that opposition just hours after the full moon goes exact. So there is a feeling of release, breakthrough, letting go, wanting to release from some sort of barrier, some sort of chains, or maybe just do something different. Maybe just wanting to experience something a little bit different in the physical world that relates to our emotions and the way that we feel about things. Maybe it has to do with the connections that we have with others. When you have the full moon in the sign, when you have a full moon in general, it's an opposition between the sun and the moon, right? So there is a height, there's a culmination of energy. Then you add in Uranus, which can be a little bit erratic, a little bit unpredictable, and can be a little hard to pin down. There can be some quick shifts and changes that come through here with this full moon. Just to add to that intensity, at the same time, we have Mercury making a square to Pluto. This is a fast interaction, but like I said, it increases the intensity of the full moon and just adds a little bit of extra zip through coming through the beginning of this week. So adding to the mental or to the emotional intensity, we add a little bit of a mental intensity. We add the ability to dig deep within our mind while we are potentially digging deep within our emotions and the way we feel about things and the way that we communicate with not only others but with ourselves. So there is a very explorative and transformative space that we have coming through here with this full moon here, and it's an interesting space to be in. Wondering how, with this full moon, how we can find some sort of peace and balance, sun in the sign of Taurus, but doing that from within. Moon in the sign of Scorpio. Mercury making interaction with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, which has recently just went retrograde. Looking deep within and seeing where we can find resolve, where we can find a space to let go, to do something different, experience something a little bit different. It's really a place where we can grow from, it feels like, with this full moon coming through here. So it's an interesting way to start out the week here. That Scorpio moon will take us right into Tuesday, May 13th. The moon will move into the sign of Sagittarius around 4 a.m. Eastern time, so really the moon will be in the sign of Sagittarius ultimately for most of the day. And then that Sagittarius moon will take us right into Wednesday, May 14th, where we have a couple planetary aspects to the North and South node. Anytime you have an aspect to one of the nodes, that planet will be interacting with the other node as well. That is the nature of the opposition of the North and South node, because they are always in direct opposition to each other. So speaking of the North and the South node just on their own, these are the places that give us our eclipses. So there are thematic things going on in the houses where you find the nodes for all of us in different ways playing out. So there's a current theme that is being activated anytime that you have an interaction with a planet with the nodes here. And the North node representing something that we are pulled towards, something that we feel we want to experience or move towards, something maybe that we desire. The South node being a place of release, a place of letting go, things that maybe we feel like we desire to move away from, but maybe we kind of get pulled back to those things somehow. There's a push and a pull that comes with the nodes in general. And then we have Jupiter making a square to the nodes here. So in relation to the things that we are moving away from and the things that we are moving towards, essentially the path that we are on and the themes that are highlighted, the houses that are highlighted through the eclipses for us, we have a philosophical and an expansive consideration with Jupiter making the square here. Squares are of the nature of Mars, so they challenge us, they make us want to see something a little different. Maybe there's a little bit of a struggle that comes along with it, but essentially they give us a place that we can grow from. So with Jupiter making a square to the nodes here this week, what are the existential questions that are coming up for you? The hows and the whys. Maybe we are thinking about where we've been, where we are going, and maybe there is a philosophical consideration there. Maybe there are lessons that we've learned, ethics and morals that we uphold. These are the things that are in question when Jupiter is making a square to the North and the South node. There may be an extra emphasis on this axis. Like I said, there's always themes of the houses playing out where the nodes are, because those are where the eclipses are playing out for your own individual life there. And there's a push and pull. There's an interaction of a place that we are seeking out, but there's also an interaction with a place where we are seeking to release from. And these are being activated at the same time. So bigger knowledge or informational considerations here as Jupiter is activating both the North and the South node. At the same time, we have the Sun interacting with the nodes as well. It's making a sextile to the North node while making a trine to the South node. There's an illumination and exploration that comes along with this action. There is an exploration of new energies coming through. Uranus is making contacts with the Sun this week, as well as this nodal axis is a fairly new energy for us. We've only had just a couple eclipses across the Pisces Virgo axis, and really we have more ahead of us than we have behind us. So this is still somewhat new energy that we are experiencing, that we are exploring. So we may feel that this is kind of amplifying at the time, or there's a little bit of a bigger focus on these houses coming through the middle of this week. There is a strength that comes with the Sun, so maybe it feels like, these are positive aspects from the Sun to the nodes as well, so maybe it feels like we are able to hold a certain light or a certain strength or a certain level of optimism with in respect to the path that we are taking across these houses and this axis here. So, maybe there are things to overcome. There's that square with Jupiter coming through to the nodes, but if there's challenges, if there's blockages, if there's obstacles or things or conundrums that we need to consider, there can be an illumination or a strength that comes from considering something different, something more, or broadening our perspective somehow here, coming through the middle of this week here. So that's what we have going on Wednesday. And that Sagittarius moon will take us right into Thursday, May 15th. This is the day where that interaction between the sun and the nodes is going to go exact. So we have that building through the beginning of the week, and then on Thursday is when it's going to maybe reach its exact height or peak there. We don't have any other exact planetary aspects other than that one that has been flowing through the week. The moon will move into the sign of Capricorn in the middle of the afternoon there, and then that Capricorn moon will take us right into Friday, May 16th. The moon will be in the sign of Capricorn all day. On this day, it will make a square to Venus while also trining Mercury at the same time. So that is an interesting moment to note in the afternoon there. That Capricorn moon will take us right into Saturday, May 17th, where it will be in the sign of Capricorn all day. And this is where we have that conjunction between Sun and Uranus that we talked about in the beginning of the week with the full moon comes into exactness. So we mentioned that it will be applying during the full moon and will be applying through the entire week. So the intensity of that breakthrough and that illumination of wanting to do something different, that wanting to explore things slightly different or look at things a little bit different. There's a lot of contemplation going on here this week. It may lead up to some sort of culmination or some sort of height of energy at the end of the week here, since it's been building throughout the whole entire week. This aspect goes exact just as Venus clears her post-shadow from retrograde, so she's now going to be moving across new degrees in the sign of Aries that she has not recently went across. So the conjunction of the sun and the moon that really is at its peak on Saturday, but since it's built into that full moon, there's a height of that energy throughout the entire week. But that coming through exact at the same time that Venus is clearing her post-shadow feels very symbolic of that rebirth and that transformation that Venus has went through, and really the symbolic renaissance of her own energy and her own autonomy coming through here. So there may, at the end of this week, really feel like the ability to step into some sort of new energy around everything that has been going on here this week. And really through a longer process that has been going on for most of this year. So there are some strong energies that we have coming through here this week that are lingering throughout the week. There are some points of contemplation and places of considering where we've been, where we're going, and the whole entire process that has come up from that. So there is not a huge number of aspects this week. However, we have some powerful ones that are coming through here that may have a little history or a little bit of a longevity through them. So going through this week here with all of these things, I feel like it would be a really good week for everybody to join us at our live astrological meditation that we have on Sunday nights. We have that every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So we hope to see you there, and I hope to see you back here next week for the next video. Hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.